Good morning. What up, Dan and Amy? Tonight is the final debate. It's in Las Vegas. Aunt Linda will be there.
Yeah, and
She'll be on the ground reporting for us.
Yeah, we could call her tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
But last night she was in an event with all the Trump ladies. Omarosa was there. Diamond and Silk were there.
Summer Zerbos.
Katrina Pearson.
Some of Summer Zerbos.
Yeah, and some of the Trump daughter-in-laws. So she was Summer was not there. And
thought maybe she catered the event.
No. Yeah.
Auditioning for the Trump organization if she wanted a job.
I'm going to L.A. today after the show. I'll swing by Sonny's in Huntington Beach.
Yeah.
Maybe get you a T-shirt, get you some swag. Find out Summer. She's going to vote for Trump now.
So Aunt Linda had a good time with the Trump women, Diamond and Silk, the pundits.
And I got to tell you, Silk has softened her look. She looks 20 years younger. She has long hair now. I didn't even recognize her. But apparently they've
gone Hollywood.
Aunt Linda told me that she spoke with Diamond and Silk, and they do know who we are. So we have arrived, Dan.
It's nice. I mean, nice to be appreciated.
A big deal.
Now, the issue categories in tonight's debate have been announced. Debt/entitlements, immigration, the economy, Supreme Court, foreign hotspots, fitness to be president. That's funny. Like, those issues will be discussed. What's more likely to be discussed is a National Enquirer profile on Hillary Clinton, 26-page expose out today. Former Clinton fixer, right?
Claims that Hillary had relationships with both men and women.
I prefer the term trysts.
Trysts?
That's more Enquirer lingo than relationships.
I don't know.
It's too sanitized.
I'm not buying it. But I will read the article if you want me to.
So you're not buying the story, but you will buy the Enquirer.
I will buy the Enquirer.
Course. All right. For some, I don't know, is it possible to have serious talk about a debate between these two? We're going to try with Matt Mackowiak. He's a Republican strategist and the president of Potomac Strategy Group. Matt, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, my pleasure. Good morning.
Good morning. So thinking about this from an operative perspective, if you were advising the Trump campaign and the Donald himself, what are the one or two things he must accomplish tonight to build some momentum from tonight into the last 3 weeks?
Yeah, I just took that subject on in my exclusive New York Observer column, which is up this morning. But look, Trump's entering this debate in as bad a situation as almost any presidential nominee, certainly in my lifetime and perhaps in the history of the country. If you look at where he is in the Electoral Politics average nationally, he's anywhere between 35 and 39%, which would put him among the 10 worst performing major party nominees in the history of the country. He's obviously been on an absolute nightmare run here the last 3 weeks, bleeding support from Republicans and college-educated white women. I kind of see maybe four things he needs to do tonight to try to resuscitate his campaign. I think, first of all, he's got to demonstrate some honest contrition. I don't expect him to admit, to groping, but he needs to admit to some bad behavior in the past, and that he really ought to offer an apology to anyone that he's treated badly. And if he did that with some contrition tonight, I think that would go a long way to put this behind him. I mean, secondly, and almost most importantly, I think there's an opportunity to hold Hillary accountable. He did that at times in the second debate, made her play defense. But boy, we have some new information now with this quid pro quo between the State Department and the FBI that came out from the FBI interview notes, and of course all the revelations from WikiLeaks that have come out over the past few weeks. The last two are, he just needs to have a positive vision that explains what the country would look like 4 years from now and how that's better. People don't vote for a negative; they vote for a positive, and he's got to do that. And then finally, I just think he's got to be disciplined. Going in, chasing rabbits and going down into controversial territory takes the debate in a direction it doesn't need to go for him to be successful.
Well, now I want to challenge one point though, that people vote for positive, they don't vote for negative. It seems to me, for both of them, because they're so unpopular and for similar and varied reasons, that the goal of this entire campaign that he failed to accomplish was to make this a referendum on Hillary, stop Hillary. And it seems to me he needs to remind people of his opponent to some extent, and maybe in addition to saying kind of the whole process, the whole culture is something to be rejected as is Hillary Clinton.
Totally agree. I mean, there's been no time that I can remember in American political history where both candidates were viewed more negatively than positively, where both candidates had an image that was upside down. Generally, at the end of a campaign, maybe the losing candidate is upside down, but the winning candidate is right side up. And so you're right. I mean, this was a race all along. If this race was about Trump, Trump loses. If the race was about Hillary, Hillary loses. And if you remember, the best run Trump had this entire campaign, at least in the general election, was the 2 or 3 weeks leading into the first debate.
Yeah.
Hillary was really on defense. It was after the health scare. There were the FBI interview. Notes came out there on Labor Day, which really raised a lot of questions. And she was in the news, and he wasn't in the news. He had been more disciplined. He'd moved to a teleprompter for a few weeks. So, look, he's got some, I think, very clear opportunities tonight. Do I expect him to do the things, that I suggest? Probably not. I don't think he has the discipline and self-control. He doesn't seem to understand how you have a strategy when you go into debate, and you have to really focus on executing that strategy. But he did improve from the first debate to the second. I will admit that. And so if he improves again tonight from the second to the third, there's a chance he could do well enough to perhaps change the trajectory of the race, and that's what he needs.
Well, Matt, what has he done for debate prep this time around? I mean, all that I've heard is that Priebus was Chris Wallace and Chris Christie was playing the role of Hillary Clinton, but yet he was still out campaigning, twice.
Similar-sized pantsuits. 2
appearances yesterday in Colorado. And do you think he's going to wing this one, or do you think he's really prepared?
I don't think he's really prepared that much. He certainly isn't preparing the way traditional presidential candidates prepare. He can laugh about that if he wants, but having been involved in debate prep with candidates, there is a serious way to go about it, and then there's not a serious way to go about it. And generally, candidates that don't take debates seriously don't perform well. And what's so incredible about this is there's probably never been a presidential candidate who needed debate prep more than Donald Trump. He probably feels like he did well enough in the town hall debate that he doesn't need debate prep for the third one, and I just couldn't disagree more. But look, he has such poor self-confidence that he can't handle honest feedback in real time based about his own performance. I think that's really the core issue about why he won't do debate prep. Generally, debate prep is about sharpening your language. It's about anticipating what your opponent will say. It's about making sure that you're communicating exactly what you want to communicate, and wargaming scenarios, and doing it all on video and watching yourself, and then practicing that several times. Not so that you're memorizing lines or that you're a robot, but so that you're the best version of yourself, and by the end you're performing at a much higher level than you were at the beginning. Well, that's a very basic concept.
Yeah, and I've done debate prep too, both as a candidate and for candidates. And, here's the thing about it. It's issues that are somewhat complicated, or can be if you're not succinct and lucid in explaining them, like all of the WikiLeaks information. And so much there, like the FBI document dump, so much there. But if you're not prepared to give a 30-second answer that gets to a important point for the American people to take away from it all, then it's just, you're just kind of making obscure references. WikiLeaks this, Podesta that, FBI docs this, which Trump does a lot, this kind of staccato way he has of addressing issues, but it doesn't give the passively engaged voter much to grab onto in terms of, well, I'm sorry, what is the point? Who are these people? What is he talking about? Why should I be upset? What is the danger? Those are the kind of questions he doesn't seem to answer effectively when he is not precise with his language.
It is such a crucial point. I mean, really is, Dan. He is so imprecise with his language, and Hillary has spent her entire life parsing, the definition of the word is, as any lawyer, might. And so you're right on these issues. Number one, most people don't understand the complexities of them. And number two, you do have to educate voters. I mean, the reason presidential debates matter is because you're not just talking about political junkies that are tuning in. With a TV audience of 60 or 70 or 80 million people, you're getting, as you said, passive viewers, people that would generally be watching sports or sitcoms at night that are tuning in to watch politics because they think it's their civic duty on one evening. And you're right. I mean, the opportunity is there. I mean, these issues. I mean, look, Hillary Clinton would be losing to 10 or 11 of our nominees had any of the other candidates been our nominee right now. She's the single weakest front runner and likely president of the United States than I can ever remember. 2/3 of the country viewing her as dishonest and not trustworthy. 7 out of 10 voters believing the country's headed in the wrong direction. I mean, she's really poor on the campaign trail, and you have these very serious revelations coming out from WikiLeaks and now from the FBI investigation of her server. So, you're right. I mean, if he had prepared enough, he could understand how to precisely hold her accountable and prosecute the case against her. But he just doesn't. He's just not able to do it. It's almost like English isn't even the first language for him. He has such difficulty being precise and specific in holding her accountable, and it's been a terrible missed opportunity. And if you think about someone like Marco Rubio, who had a fantastic debate in his U.S. Senate race the other night, or Ted Cruz, or Chris Christie, so many of these other candidates, I think, would have really held Hillary accountable, and it would have been a different race entirely.
Maybe he can just cede his 45 minutes to Hillary. The more she talks, the worse it gets for her. Matt Mackowiak, he is a Republican strategist, president of the Potomac Strategy Group. Matt, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Take care.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.